Good morning. Today is the 1st of October and it's time for yet another not particularly interesting, very vague and probably quite boring vlog. This week I had the privilege of going to Bristol to film a few cars owned by a channel viewer, and whilst I was there I was very aware that the Bristol clean air zone is in operation. It was first announced about 2019, and actually there is a very old video on the channel where I go to Clifton and take a look around at the cars that probably are not going to be compliant. It's not a particularly good video, but I've been aware of this for quite a long time. It was actually eventually introduced in 2022, as far as I understand it, and the rules are not the same rules as originally planned. Back in 2019, it was going to be not just a charge for cars but not compliant with the Bristol clean air zone. It was going to be an outright ban. In fact, you just couldn't take cars in, and actually it was not the same rules as London at all. It was, you could just bring any petrol car in you wanted, and the mayor of Bristol essentially was like me on the channel. We don't talk about diesels on this channel. We don't allow diesels in this area at all. It was pretty much just a ban, and it was unusual in that way. So that was the sort of old kind of idea for the zone. What's actually come through is a zone that looks similar to the 2019 proposals. It's very difficult to describe the area because it's a really weird shape and it doesn't sort of follow some nice neat boundary lines like the one in Birmingham or the ultra limited zone in London, which is just now the whole of Greater London. That's just a really easy thing to describe. It kind of goes out just stopping short of Bristol Submarine Station. It goes south of the river a little bit with some wiggly lines. It goes out to what I think is called the Avon Gorge, which is the west of the city, including this enormous kind of complicated junction in a place called Hotwells, where there's a sort of gyratory at Hotwells. Then there's another gyratory on an island over a bridge, and then there's another gyratory thing on the other side of that island. So there's 3 different complicated junctions over this bridge, and that is actually within the clean air zone. So if you want to actually get across the river, like, you'll find that most of the crossings within Bristol are within the clean air zone. So yeah, the south is just south of the Bristol River, and then to the north it kind of goes up to Clifton on one side and then sort of a little bit further on others. It's a difficult thing to describe. In fact, I'll just put a map of it on the screen now and you can take a look. So okay, that's the Bristol City Council's official map of the clean air zone. So you know where it is. What exactly do you need to know about which cars can go in? So if your car has a Euro 4 compliant petrol engine, and those generally made after about 2005, although there are some that are as early as 2001, and it's just worth going on the checker and having a look, then you don't pay anything at all. So the car I was driving around in on Wednesday and through the clean air zone was a 2006 Volvo S40 2.4 petrol. That's absolutely fine. It's a Euro 4 car. Like London though, and many other places, Bristol, Birmingham's the same. If you have a car with a forbidden fuel engine that the Mayor of Bristol doesn't like to talk about, and apparently the Mayor of Bristol doesn't either, with heavy oil, then you have to have a Euro 6 engine. Those are generally cars that are from September 2015 onwards, but there are some that were a bit early that were Euro 6 compliant. The charge for having a vehicle that's not compliant is £9, but that includes cars and light goods vehicles up to 3.5 tonnes. If you've got a bus or if you've got a lorry So a heavy goods vehicle over 3.5 tonnes, it's £100 a day. So I'm sure like all the fleet operators are in the area are really happy with what's happened, or not. The funny thing is that when I set Google Maps to drive me near London, and I have been in the ultra emission zone since its expansion in August, it actually tells you on Google Maps if you're going to go through it. So if you were in a car that's not compliant, then it would alert you to the fact. This time it didn't. And actually, away from where my friend lives in South Bristol, which is an area called Filbert Park. He doesn't actually drive, actually. I stayed with a friend of mine. He doesn't drive, so he uses the bus or walks and everything like that. So this isn't really something that affects him particularly, but he does know people who do drive, and when he gets to live with them, they obviously talk to him about it. The way it routes me from South Bristol, Filbert Park, through Bedminster and up to near Bristol Temple Mead, I go straight through the clean air zone. He took me straight through without any warning. Now you can avoid it, you can go round it, and in fact when I came into Bristol to go to the house of a channel viewer, I had two options: through the zone and go round it, and I went round it the first time. So it is possible to do that. It's just, for some reason, Google Maps doesn't have the Bristol Clean Air Zone on there as like an option to inform you if you don't have a something that's compliant to go in. And I wonder how many people in Bristol, or who drive into Bristol from the places, actually are aware of what the requirements are, because rather like in London, it's just a sign up saying Bristol Clean Air Zone, and if you don't know, you don't know. There's no sort of stating any requirements or anything like that. So one of the reasons why I always have generally cars that are compliant with the clean air zone is because of this very thing. If I'm on a filming trip, I don't really want to pay £9 a day in the old Rover 200 I have to be able just to drive through, and that would be every day I'd have to do it. So you pay exactly the same way as everywhere else. You go online and you pay your £9 if you're in your non-compliant car. This is the thing about it, as I've said many times before, what London does, the rest of the country tends to follow. And so now the Bristol one's there, we've got all over the place: Edinburgh, Glasgow, Bath, Sheffield, Portsmouth. It could be coming to a place near you. It could be quite a small place. The ones in places like Portsmouth and Bath are generally at the moment for things like taxis and other commercial vehicles. They're not for private cars, but given the cameras are actually already on, they're up. How long is it before someone like Portsmouth actually changes the regulations to include private cars? I don't think it's too long. But yes, that's I think most of what you need to know about the Bristol Clean Air Zone. Hopefully it does maybe reduce some traffic, because Bristol is not a nice place to drive in my experience. It's very congested, some of the roads are very narrow. I'm trying to work out where to go, particularly that junction, which is kind of down near Hotwells. The one that's a bridge, it's got 3 different gyratories on it, I think, 3 different pieces of land. That particular one is one of the worst junctions I've ever had to experience in my life. It's incredibly complicated and dangerous. So I suppose it keeps some people out, but has it resulted in decreased traffic levels and decreased pollution since the zone was introduced last year? Let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, thank you ever so much again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like us in the comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more surprisingly relevant music.